Hello, my name is Ryan, and today I'll be completing an industry analysis on Toys R Us. In this video, I will analyze Toys R Us based on Porter's 5 forces. The purpose of the 5 forces is to examine the competitiveness in an industry and see how much potential profit exists. We do this by considering the competitors, or rivals, the threat of new entrants into the industry, the threat of substitutes, the threat of buyers, and lastly, the threat of suppliers. In a consistently changing market, it is critical that companies are aware of everything that is going on in the external environment so that they are able to ensure long-term profitability and growth.
To begin, I think it would be beneficial to provide a quick overview of the toy industry and emphasize a couple things to keep in mind. First and foremost, in the past few decades, the retail industry has been consistently changing. The rise in e-commerce, due to its convenience and ease of accessibility, has significantly impacted brick-and-mortar stores. Furthermore, the advancements in technology has shifted the culture of toys from action figures and puzzles to more technologically savvy toys, such as video games and smart toys. When beginning to look at Toys R Us, we must first find the appropriate units of analysis. In our case, we thought it would be better to focus on the industry in general, rather than a strategic group because of how quickly the toy industry in general is changing. Because of the change in shopping trends, as well as the growth of their competitors, Toys R Us had to completely adjust how they were marketing themselves and how they needed to sell their products. To give you an idea how big the toy industry is, I will now provide some economic indicators. According to a 2016 report from the Toy Association, the United States toy market is worth around $21 billion, and the global toy market is worth around $88 billion. In addition, the United States toy market has been significantly increasing in recent years, being 16% larger in 2016 than it was in 2013. Now, I will analyze and discuss Toys R Us based on Porter's 5 forces. At the end of the video, I will assign threat levels to each of them. The first one I will use to analyze Toys R Us is the threat of rivals. This is a very big issue for Toys R Us. The biggest competitors of Toys R Us include Amazon, Walmart, and Target. Due to advancing technology, online sales have been on the rise. In 2011, 7% of toy purchases were made online. In 2016, that number is up to 14%. This alone isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, Toys R Us was late to the party. Amazon and Walmart have been significantly averaging more online sales than Toys R Us, even though Toys R Us is known as a dominant player in the toy industry. Next up, the threat of new entrants into the industry. Though the U.S. toy market has seen growth for the past 5 years, from 2011 to 2016, which is encouraging to potential entrants, we believe that the dominance from Amazon and Walmart will discourage new entrants into the toy industry. In addition, the rise of e-commerce makes it difficult for brick-and-mortar stores to thrive, especially in such a competitive market. Continuing with the 5 forces analysis, up next we will take a look at the threat of substitutes. The threat of substitutes increases when buyers face little to no switching costs, and also when the substitute's quality or performance is relatively the same. In the case of Toys R Us and the toy industry in general, there is very minimal product differentiation. This basically means there is little difference in quality between generic and name brand toys. Because of this, consumers are drawn towards the most economically friendly choice. However, Toys R Us has always been more than a toy store to kids. It was more like an experience. Next up is the threat of buyers. The power of buyers increases when there are only a few buyers that purchase in large quantities. However, because Toys R Us sells right to the consumer, this is not the case. When there are a large number of customers, no one customer has significant bargaining leverage. This is definitely beneficial to Toys R Us. However, when there is low product differentiation, customers will choose the store that is the cheapest, most convenient, or has the best service. To conclude, now we will analyze the threat of suppliers. In September of 2017, Toys R Us declared for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection right before the holiday season. Because of this, suppliers were concerned that they weren't going to get paid in full what Toys R Us had owed them. However, because of Toys R Us's nearly 800 stores in the US that gave all different types of toys the spotlight, so many suppliers relied on them for showcasing their toys. To conclude our industry analysis, I will now assign threat levels on a low, medium, and high scale for each of Porter's 5 forces. For both the threat of rivals and the threat of substitutes, our group decided these were high threats. This was mainly due to the online dominance by Amazon and Walmart, the differentiation, and the ever-changing toy industry in general. In addition, because most toy stores offer the same products, customers will choose the one that is the cheapest, and in this case, most of them will choose Amazon or Walmart. Next, for the threat of new entrants, we decided this was a low threat. Because Toys R Us, Amazon, and Walmart are also dominant in the toy industry, any new entrants will have a very difficult time competing with them. Moving on to the threat of buyers, we gave this one a medium threat level. Though it sounds a little bit repetitive, because of the low product differentiation, customers are drawn towards the most cost-efficient toys, as well as the stores or retailers that provide the best service or is the most convenient. Lastly, for the threat of suppliers, we decided that this was a low threat. Because Toys R Us is the largest toy brick-and-mortar store in the country, having around 800 stores across the US alone, suppliers are eager to get their toys on the shelf. Only a few other toy stores have that kind of national coverage. Who wouldn't want their toy to be showcased in 800 stores across the country?